Good morning, Atlas Fellowship, and good morning, TKS, and good morning. I created and developed ChatGPT replicates. Basically, the same function to which ChatGPT, you give it queries and it gives you an output, is the same function to which my version of ChatGPT, you give it queries and it gives you an output back. Now, you would agree with me that ChatGPT is extremely helpful for people's needs and problems. It helps people to troubleshoot, it helps developers to write better code, to write code two times many times faster. It helps people to understand how to use the computer much better. So this is definitely a great and exciting tool that we should continuously use. And I can see that this thing is going to be integrated into biology. There would be a GPT for biology, such that people will be able to understand the biology behind them in a much greater extent, to a much greater level. So I am really excited about this, and I think the applications for people's health and for people's like in very different fields is so wide ranging. Now let's get to the thing that I actually built and how I built this. Now, as you can see here, I opened up the script.js. The files here is the chat container.inner HTML. Basically, it's to show the prompts. This is the front end, the client side of the server. So what I did first was the cd into server because I had to split the terminal, and then cd into server to npm run server to get the server running on the back end, which is the localhost 500, and then cd into client npm run dev to get the actual application running in the front end. So let's get started. Before I show you, I'd like to show you a little bit about the code. So here you can see the a few scripts, message div. These are basically front end script to ensure that this actually responds and fetches the API, fetches the API which is in the backend, so that it can actually work and give you the prompts. So first prompt that I'll give it is a very generic term. What is the future of a field I'm very passionate about? Biotechnology. Now, as you can see, this is a very open-ended question, and it's giving me a response. You see, in real time, it says biotechnology is a rapidly growing field with many potential applications in the future of which plays an important role in healthcare, agriculture, and environmental protection. As you can see, it mentions aspects to which biotechnology can play a role in, but it wasn't specific enough to give me use cases, actual use cases. So the key behind this is how specific are you in your questions to the AI? When you're very specific, you'll get very specific responses back. And hence the evolution and creation of prompt engineering, which helps people to be able to give us as accurate requests as possible to get the best requests back from the API, from the ChatGPT. So now I'll ask it a more precise question so that it can give me a better answer. Now, this question I'm going to ask is going to be more technical and it's going to be something that DevOps engineers and software engineers will understand better. So I'm going to ask it to create a manifest file in Python for my database. Just asked it to create a manifest file in Python for my database. Now let's see, will it do it? So what it's doing right now is thinking. It's mimicking how we humans take time to process information and think to create an output. As you can see, it gave me the SQL, which is the database. So this is the code actually in Python. And what it basically did is I asked it to create a manifest file for my database in Python. In other words, I just said, create a separate file where I can store sensitive information related to my database, such as the URL, database URL, the username, password, and any other credentials required for accessing the database. So the purpose of this file is to keep these sensitive details separate from my main code base and prevent them from being publicly visible. So as you can see, ChatGPT wrote the code for me, right? The ChatGPT I created wrote this code for me to allow me to, in Python, to create the manifest file for my database. Now, what it can do is very wide ranging. It's very useful for developers. As you can see, developers will continuously integrate this into their workflow. And I'll even ask it another question to show that it can even give you guidance, not just write code, not just give you prompts, but it can give you guidance. So I'll ask it, what can I do with this? Can I do what can I do with this code, and how can it help in 10 minutes? Okay, thank you. Yes, all right. So, what can I do, and how will it help me as a developer? As a developer. Okay, so let's see the response it gives me. This code can help you as a developer by providing you with a way to create a basic web page. You can use it to create a simple website as basis for more complex web applications. You can use it to learn more about HTML and CSS and create web pages. Okay, how can it help me as a DevOps engineer? Okay, so it's talking about the practices of DevOps, which is software engineering and IT operations. So it's telling me it can help to streamline the development process, improve my actual code base, and improve the efficiency, and increase the speed of my delivering the application, of course. So it's a very powerful tool, ChatGPT. Without much in that regard, we know this. And the few things I've set is the temperature, meaning how ranging is it going to in its response. The temperature is 0, meaning it's definitely going to give me a continuous response for the same queries I give it. And now the max tokens is 3,000 that I set it to. I can change that, but I said it's 3,000. So every 750 words, it's about 100 tokens or so. So it gives me a certain amount of words that will spit out based on my prompts, and then the frequency and presence penalties. So these are the few code lines that I wrote in order to get this thing functional for everyone's use, and of course the local host as well. So the further improvements on this is to increase like the number one, to deploy it so everyone can use this and not just I. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited and glad of this development. I think that it can extend towards further fields, towards biology, towards further understanding of how we can really grow and 10x our productivity. I think ChatGPT is a beautiful tool, awesome tool, and I personally was so excited to be able to create my own version of ChatGPT. And I think there would be great developments in the future with AI being integrated into every aspect of our lives, helping us, of course.